Olympic champion Cathy Freeman was among 10 community leaders to receive the highest honour in the 2026 Australia Day Honours list. Former premiers, Indigenous leaders, doctors and musicians were also among those recognised. A total of 680 people were recognised for their service to the country in the General Division of the Order of Australia. Let's talk about what's happening right after this. More than a quarter of a century after her blistering run in Sydney to claim Olympic gold, Cathy Freeman has been bestowed Australia's highest honour. Freeman was recognised for eminent service to athletics, as well as for positive social impacts across the community, to the reconciliation movement in the spirit of unity and inclusion as a role model to youth. The 52-year-old was appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia and said she was surprised to have been granted such a lovely honour. As my mother says, "It's a lovely gift from the Australian public," Freeman said. "It's truly humbling. It gives me that strength and it makes me more determined with the pursuits ahead of me." In 2007, 4 years after her final race, she started the Cathy Freeman Foundation, now known as MIRUP, with an aim to help Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander children recognise the power of education. Freeman said she took her role as a mentor to the next generation of Australians seriously. "We're all interested in a future that's brighter for everybody. It's lovely that young people still see me as some kind of symbol of possibility." Freeman said she was looking forward to the Brisbane Olympics in 2032, which she described as a wonderful opportunity for Australia. Almost 700 people have been recognised for their service to their communities in the General Division of the 2026 Australia Day Honours list. Of the 680 people honoured, 10 were made a Companion of the Order of Australia. 38 people were appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia, 160 were appointed Member of the Order, while 472 received a Medal of the Order. The list of those honoured skewed heavily towards men, with 72% of recipients male. Maurice Kensel, known to most as Joe, has received a Medal of the Order of Australia for his service to the Jewish community and the preservation of history. "I just initially couldn't believe it," he told ABC News. "I wondered who on earth had dogged me for this." The 87-year-old spent much of his working life travelling to more than 120 countries with the Royal Australian Navy, at one stage working as an intelligence agent. After retiring, Mr. Kensel began volunteering 2 days a week in the office of a Sydney synagogue, where he quickly noticed something was not right. "I discovered the records were in a funny way," he said. "So I started typing into the computer a list of all the marriages that were on the marriage register and similarly the births. That work revealed many Jewish marriages were missing from official records." Mr. Kensel went on to document and preserve Jewish weddings dating back to 1878, responding to regular requests from families seeking proof of marriage. Former New South Wales Premier Christina Kennelly has been appointed an Officer of the Order of Australia. She described the award as an honour and a lovely acknowledgement. Ms. Kennelly was recognised for distinguished service to the people and Parliaments of Australia and New South Wales, particularly as Premier, and for her contribution to the community. "It gave me pause on how many people made that career possible," she said. "Today I feel an enormous debt of gratitude." Australia's E-Safety Commissioner Julie Inman-Grant was awarded a Public Service Medal for her work to improve online safety after spearheading the world-first social media ban for people under 16. "It's overwhelming and it's an extraordinary honour," Ms. Grant told ABC News. Since December 10th, Ms. Grant says the ban has led to more than 4.7 million Aussie teens being removed from social media platforms. "We are the first, and for the first 7 years, we're the only online safety regulator in the world," she said. Co-founders of Melbourne-based streetwear label and social enterprise Homie, Nicholas Pearce and Marcus Crook, were honoured for that not-for-profit work. All of Homie's profits go towards supporting young people affected by homelessness or hardship through 4 programs. We wanted to make caring cool for young people, but also a real, tangible, lasting impact for our customers, Mr. Pierce said. Mr. Crook said it had been incredibly rewarding to see young people thrive after going through their employment programs. To think that we've played just a small part of that and provided opportunities for young people, it really gives a sense of pride for all the team, Mr. Crook said. Musician, author, and advocate Eliza Hall received an OAM for disability, advocacy, and service to the arts. Ms. Hall has a condition called Charcot-Marie-Tooth, which impacts her peripheral nervous system. The effects can vary and affect people differently, with some needing a wheelchair or a walking aid. For Ms. Hall, it means she walks differently, can fall over, and finds stairs difficult. Ms. Hall strives to feature people with disability in her work as a singer and songwriter. She has also produced television shows, written music for television, written children's books, and hosted an ABC podcast about parenting with a disability. Growing up, I didn't ever see myself ever represented on TV or in books, she said. I have certainly seen attitudes shift and kids come up to me and say, I love this book because I see myself in this book and I guess I just feel less alone. Principal at Elim College, Zeynep Zettel, said she was honored to be recognized with an OAM for her work in the Muslim community. I was quite shocked and surprised to receive this award and happy as well, she said. This is a recognition of a service rather than something that I've done myself. Mrs. Zettel said the real reward and highlight in her role as a mentor and leader was watching her students succeed. One thing I enjoy mostly is seeing our students become confident leaders and transitioning from school into the wider community and being very confident in both their Muslim and Australian identity, she said. Former Queensland Premier Anastasia Palaszczuk was made a Companion of the Order of Australia for eminent service to the state's people and parliament. Ms. Palaszczuk led Queensland for 8 years and was the first Australian female premier to win 3 terms. Ms. Palaszczuk said she was extremely honoured and humbled by the recognition. From the outset, I want to thank Queenslanders for standing by me through thick and thin. We went through a lot together, she said. As well as her work as premier, the award recognises her efforts in educational equity, multiculturalism, and public health. It's always been my absolute desire that no matter where you live in a state, whether you live in the Torres Strait, whether you live in Waipa, the Gold Coast, that every young child should have the opportunity to follow their dreams, she said. Former WA Senator Matthias Cormann was appointed a Companion of the Order of Australia for his service to the Parliament and international economic development. Mr. Cormann served as a senator for 13 years and was Australia's finance minister for 7 under 3 different prime ministers, Scott Morrison, Malcolm Turnbull, and Tony Abbott. He now serves as the Secretary General of the Organisation for Economic Cooperation and Development. Mr. Cormann was surprised, excited, and proud after hearing of the honour and said it held extra significance given he migrated to Australia from Belgium in his 20s. Australia's been wonderful. It's given me so many opportunities to contribute, he said. One of Australia's leading cancer epidemiologists, Emeritus Professor Bruce Armstrong AM, was also awarded Australia's highest honour. Professor Armstrong, who has dedicated his life to cancer research and improving cancer screening, said helping the community had been his life's pleasure. The reason I did the jobs I did was because I thought they were going to be useful ultimately to improving the health of the community, he said. Now 81 and experiencing the early stages of dementia, Professor Armstrong said he was no longer consulting and was focused on keeping physically and intellectually active. I would hope perhaps that people listening to me concede that there is life after dementia, he said. Ken and Jocelyn Elliott, who were kidnapped by Al-Qaeda-linked militants in Burkina Faso, both received an AO for their distinguished service to international relations through humanitarian medical care. Former South Australian Premier Stephen Marshall has been made a member of the Order of Australia. With his victory in the 2018 election, Mr. Marshall brought the Liberals back to power after 16 years in opposition. His time as Premier was marked by the COVID-19 pandemic, during which the public became accustomed to his almost daily press conferences. But Mr. Marshall said South Australia's COVID response was a collective effort. The rest of the world was grappling with COVID-19, and I think South Australia moved decisively, he said. I think all South Australians can feel very proud of the way we got through the pandemic. Probably better than most places in the world. Tasmanian Robert Higgins has been recognised with an OAM for his service to billiards and snooker and to the community. A life member of multiple billiards and snooker associations, Mr. Higgins has been a referee at every major championship in Australia for the past 26 years. I chose to go down the administration line, and it stayed with me for a lifetime. I tried to have a few exits, but they won't let me go, he said. Although Mr. Higgins is really passionate about billiards and snooker, he highlights his time as a deputy chair of Food Bank Tasmania as his most significant contribution to the community. I'm enormously humbled and a little bit proud, but very much humbled, he said. A geologist who has spent 2 decades developing carbon capture and storage technology has been named a Companion of the Order of Australia in recognition for his eminent service to science. Professor Peter Cook's work has centered on capturing carbon dioxide from its large-scale sources, compressing it, and injecting it kilometers underground where it can be permanently stored. Among his achievements, Professor Cook established the Otway Basin Carbon Capture and Storage demonstration project in Victoria, one of the first of its type in the world, which has injected about 100,000 tons of CO2 underground. Professor Cook acknowledged the technology had faced skepticism, but said it was a critical component to mitigate climate change and was essential for achieving net zero emissions. Not everybody agrees with it, but it is increasingly recognized that we just have to have it as one of the technologies if we're going to do something about global warming, he said. Chief Justices Andrew Bell and Christopher Korakis also received the highest honour, along with Professor Anne Kelso, Scientia Professor Michelle Simmons, and Paula Fox, of the Paula Fox Melanoma and Cancer Centre. Decades of his service as a paramedic turned doctor and volunteer have earned double recognition for Felix Ho, who becomes a member of the Order of Australia only months after being named Anti-Australian of the Year. Mr. Ho's journey began when, as a shy 13-year-old, he joined the St. John's Ambulance Youth Cadet Program. He said the experience helped him gain confidence, new friends, an idea for a career path, and a passion for volunteering. On top of his full-time job as a doctor travelling to remote communities, today Mr. Ho leads St. John's 3,000-strong youth volunteer program. Darwin's Frank Ahmad is being recognised for decades of service to sporting organisations and the Indigenous community with an OAM. A champion footballer in his youth, Mr. Ahmed went on to coach young players and then to lead the legendary Darwin Buffaloes Football Club as president. He became a respected and beloved mentor to generations of young Territorians and took many into his home with his beloved family and wife Sue, who died at the start of the year. Off the field, he served for decades in the anti-public service as a volunteer and director of the Council for Aboriginal Alcohol Program Services, supporting Territorians trapped in addiction and their families. Mr. Ahmad said he was honoured to be recognised and said it was a testament to the endless support of his family. It wasn't only me, it was my mother and father who brought me up well, and my wife who loved me for 53 years, he said. If it wasn't for her and all the work she'd done in the background, I wouldn't be here talking to you. In bittersweet news, Midnight Oil drummer Rob Hurst was posthumously made a member of the Order of Australia for a significant service to the performing arts through music. The 70-year-old lost his almost 3-year battle with pancreatic cancer just a week ago. Recipients will be invited to receive the insignia of their awards at ceremonies held in coming months in their respective states and territories. Acknowledging to the gender gap, the Council of the Order of Australia called on Australians to nominate women making a difference in their communities. The gender balance of this year's honours list, more broadly, is both a cause for concern, and the Council hopes a prompt for community action, it said in a statement. There is no doubt that there are as many outstanding women contributing to our communities as there are men. The fact an equal number of women and men have been appointed companions of the Order in this list underlines that. The Council would like to see this balance reflected all across nominations and, therefore, outcomes at all levels of award. We need Australians nominating outstanding women for recognition.